Why is it so hard for me to review Against the Edge by Kate Martin? I have filmed like 3 reviews of this, and each time there has been a problem. And in the last one, I simply misspoke. And I said, no, get it done right. Against the Edge is, I shadow on the face thing. Yes, okay. I gotta move that light. Against the Edge, still shadow on the face, it's not the light. Against the Edge is kind of a romance novel. Doesn't feature a lot of romance, so I'm cool with that. But the sex scenes, at some point, it's like, okay, I don't believe a dude would be doing that. Just the whole, I'm going to taste you scene. If you read this book, you'll know what I mean. I'm going to look, if I'm a dude, I mean, I think we'd call that a 68. One goes down and the other owes them one, but yeah. So here's the thing. Against the Edge is about this ridiculously hot dude, apparently, who used to be a Navy SEAL, got injured, and then became a detective. Because that's really closely connected, right? Anyway, and this ridiculously hot social worker shows up and says, oh, by the way, that son you never knew you had got kidnapped. So you better go find that kid. Then, social worker and ridiculously hot dude go on a wild adventure trying to find the kid. And it is really middle ground. I mean, it's competent enough writing. There's a few places where it's like, I think the story was going to end there, but they realized there weren't enough pages, so they kept going. I have an itch. And here's the thing, is I was not drawn into this because, for one thing, I absolutely knew that they were going to find the kid. I mean, I knew that. The type of writing style, they're going to find this kid. That's what's going to happen. And you're not really feeling like there's stakes. This is just an eventuality, and we're moving to a very slow conclusion. And there isn't a lot of direct conflict in this. It's a lot of tracking, and the tracking was very interesting. And I know, like, I've watched a lot of CSI. These people got very lucky, and they found this, they found that, sort of a thing. And again, this is competent writing, but it's not Lord of the Rings writing. You're not going to read this, and it's going to be immediately copious and understandable and clear. What I'm saying here is that there are a lot of characters in here. I was like, wait, who is this again? Let me scroll back my brain a bit and try to think about that. And there aren't too many characters in this, but they're not characters that I cared about, and they're not characters that I engaged with. Because, one, I'm not a super hot dude. So I read this, I'm like, yeah, okay, there's the dude that spends all of his day in the gym, and I look like Jabba the Hutt. So we Jabba the Hutts are not going to be like, oh yeah, I want to. It's like, I just don't like that guy. He's a man slut, is what he is. So, in my opinion, when your main character is a man slut, I dislike him. So man slut, and then there's the other woman. Is she a slut? Well, she says she's not a slut, but the last boyfriend was kind of a D-bag, and she lets him back in her life a little too much, so she's kind of one of those damaged women, but they're both ridiculously hot, so we're supposed to forgive that. Yeah. Again, you don't read this for the story, you read this for the 2 ridiculously hot people. Again, if you're into romance novels, you don't care how it ends. If you're into literature, you know how it ends from like the first couple of pages. So there's nothing really to drive my desire to read this novel. The stakes are high, it's a child's life, I get that, but I just didn't, I mean, it's like, oh, it's some kid you've never met. Kids I never met die every day, and some of them may even be of some distant relation to me. yeah, okay, he's kind of half your kid because you didn't grow up with him, you didn't raise him. There are a lot of problems with this novel. It's not a bad book. Let me premise this. I cannot say this was a bad novel. It is one of a series. There are other Against novels, at least one of them. Against the Odds, I believe it is. And if you read that one and enjoyed it, you're going to enjoy this. These kind of books are not for everybody. They're not for me. They're for women who want to go on an adventure with a hot dude. If you're that woman, you're going to enjoy this book. If you're a dude who's like, yeah, I'm more interested in the adventure than the hot chick, you're going to be disappointed. And again, this is reading, it's not visual. You don't get to see the hot chick, you get to read about her. So it's disappointing in that level as well. And I mean, you know, you look, abs guy, his shirt's hanging open on the cover. There's some chick in the background. Kind of imagined her as being less tan when I read the book, but that's just me. So yeah, this book was a loan. Somebody gave it to me. I really needed to got it like 8 months ago. I need to give it back to him. But competently written, middle ground, not terrible, just not engaging for me. Anyway, that's my opinion. I'm sure that if you are Googling this book, it's because you love it and you therefore think I'm a complete and total donkey for having my opinion of it. So why don't you tell that to me in the comments down below. I'm Richard.